Ahoy there, mateys. It's time to set sail on another episode of Unconstitutional Awakening, the podcast. I'm your captain, Jimbob Ovalshorts, and tonight we've got all kinds of great things planned for this evening. So as you guys are coming on in, I'm welcoming in all y'all from everywhere this evening. We've got you over there on YouTube, Rumble, Odyssey, Kick, and even Facebook this evening. So we are going to have a great evening time this evening, and we've got some good stuff planned ahead of time. So of course, let me bring in the rest of the crew that I've got with me tonight. We've got Neptune and Luis with me so far this evening, man. It's so good to see you fellas this evening. Luis, how you been, buddy? It's been a long time no talk, man. Aside from group chat stuff, of course. It's good to see your face.
It's been an evolution.
How's things been going, man? Has everything been great on your end?
Well, I'm here in a state of absolute disorder where the government now has created a whole new horror movie that I haven't watched yet. I'm not sure which sci-fi novel depicts the current future of New York, but thanks to Hochul, we're gonna get a whole new sci-fi horror movie. Or
Man,
Dystopian Night. I don't know which one.
I forgot to even put that on the list for this evening, but I do recall seeing the nonsense that you sent to the group chat that New York State is about to start doing for everyone. So you got that to look forward to. Neptune, how's things going over there this evening with you, my friend?
Pretty good, man. And Luis, I'm a little behind, but is New York turning into Mad Max?
I mean, we haven't lost the resources yet.
That's valid. That's fair.
Yet. What is it? I think New York could survive 3 days before mass riots would engulf the city in pure violence. If there were to be a catastrophic event, that's what they estimate. In about 6 days, all the food would run out. 4 to 6 days, all the food would run out.
Well,
what would definitely be a serious issue for grand old New York, unfortunately.
Well, see, what we were kind of touching at there is that the good old governor there, Kathy Hochul? I don't know how to say her name there. Don't really care. Hochul, okay. As in a landmark case of government overreach, has put in Rule 2.13, which is the isolation and quarantine procedures, and will give the state of New York the ability to come into your home and take you away to quarantine without any notice and for any virus or infection they deem necessary. You won't have any option to fight it, no court date, nothing. The rule has no age limit, and they can keep you as long as they seem fit. And the rule also allows them to treat you as they see fit, including using methods that are still in testing. I mean, this is kind of a big overreach for New York, but it's not out of place. Like, those kind of things I expect from New York State. Like,
I mean, you could
I've
say
lived there myself. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, I've never lived in New York State specifically, so I can't speak to either of you fellows for that. I would say that I'm surprised by this, but I also, I guess, shouldn't be surprised since New York State is, and while I somehow consider it a second home, is somehow famous for, well, just.
Didn't Como kill a whole bunch of people's grandparents?
No, it was our other amazing. What's the name of those brothers? that
Kumo.
homosexuals, the homosexual crowd. Yeah. Sorry. Oh god damn it.
Yeah.
YouTube. Brain cells.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No worries, no worries.
Yes, the man with the piercings.
The man with the piercings.
The man with the piercings.
This is how out of touch I am with New York State as a whole and with New York City. Just learning as of like 2 weeks ago that now Como brothers' dad, Mario Kuma or whatever, they're trying to officially get everybody on board with calling the Tappan Zee Bridge the Mario Kumo Bridge or whatever.
Oh my
And
god.
that's the most recent thing that I've seen out of New York State. So it shows how out of touch I am with northern states in general.
Well, you know, and I mean, no offense to it, but it's always the North. It seems to always be the North. It seems to have always been the North, even way back into the 1800s there when they got super aggressive in the beginning there. I don't see what the deal is with that side of the.
So I am kind of curious, Luis or Jimmy, if either of you guys know about this section 2.13. What are the provisions of this exactly? Like, how does that actually read in text? That
Oh
they
wait,
can just
I'm gonna
literally
look
you
pull
gotta
a.
open the link, but he read it verbatim. What was the policies? This has
Are you
been
serious?
so no
So that's
he
not
actually
good.
quoted what was written, but it gets worse. So this has been they tried it in 2020
Yeah.
and they failed, and then this is a new version, and this new version's through some idiot. Honestly, I can say that word, right?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That judge said that's okay. I'm like, okay, so who bought you for how much, and should we looked into prosecuting you for crimes against humanity because you just declared that the government can just incarcerate a human being for no reason other than the potential of disease. What? Without any process, and they can drug you. That's the best part. They can also drug you with experimental drugs that have not been approved.
This sound this sounds like things that were done in a certain you know, past place that
European
people
country.
don't certain European country that
You know,
people don't like talking about.
There's a name with a neuro and a berg,
Mhm. Yeah, yeah,
but I
yeah. It's
can't
got
say them
yeah,
together.
and you
they
know,
use a funny little symbol too.
so
Oh yeah, it goes which direction? That way or this
Like
way?
this
I,
away.
so you know, I'm thinking out loud here, and this is almost a thought experiment, but humor me for a moment that this doesn't sound like as it applies to basically every other nation on Earth or basically anyone on planet Earth that has a pulse, that to detain someone forcibly and give them no right to basically question the authority of that detention sounds like revoking writ of habeas corpus. Am I wrong for assuming that?
Oh, I mean, everybody believes it's going to get struck down by the Supreme Court,
I
but
agree. I mean,
I hope,
yeah, I can see
thankfully,
that.
because the Supreme Court, even though they are doing other things that not everybody agrees with, and I don't agree with everything the Supreme Court's doing, I
Right.
do agree that it's a humongous violation of our rights as
Yeah.
beings of this country and of this planet, and
It,
we
it,
set these things so people don't riot, and
yeah.
they are setting things up. If you read the comment section of the post I sent you, it's literally all basically saying that, oh, it's time for New York to basically rebel. That's the stupid part. Is that why is the government creating such a situation? They're creating an enemy of the people against themselves. It's very bad, stupid.
You know, and it's crazy when, as someone who's lived in Western New York, and I know we've got a lot of folks that listen and watch in Western New York, but um, is a different world from New York City. You know, the folks in Western New York will always sit here and tell you and try to and blame New York City for the reason that the state is the way that it is, and like
But
a lot of the folks that are out there in the what they call upstate New York, they don't align with anything that the government in that state is doing whatsoever. But somehow
and you
somehow
know
they keep staying in power. It's
but
because
chaos.
New Yorkers vote more, and they're like this weirdo majority. Even though you could say in many ways, New York is a conservative state. New York State is conservative.
looking
More into the conservative
outward,
region.
look.
At least
I
Long
mean,
Island is.
you look outward outside of the major population centers. Obviously, you get more conservative the further out you go, and yet New York State itself is still governed outside of the city itself. Like, so Albany, there's almost there's almost a double entendre there. Like, you've got a Democratic governor in maybe a conservative leaning state outside the major metropolitan areas. Sure, that's basically writing edicts for the biggest population, one of the biggest population centers in the U.S. And so there's a lot going on with that. There's so much to unpack in all of this. Like,
There's a few people that
I'm just learning about this tonight. I had no idea that New York State was trying to actually do that.
cities tend to favor majority rule, and that could be also a psychological thing, that they just don't want conflict, because the typical individual does not
Mhm.
want conflict, and when you're in high proximity to other people, that will tend for you to go for the lesser conflict. So those that are more dominant will be the exploitive class.
Yep.
So so speaking of, constant government overreach and things like that and such, there last week on our very first live that we did ever, which, Luis, I'm sorry you missed us, but I know you were busy hanging out and rubbing elbows with super cool people doing photograph things. But we kind of didn't get into something that Neptune really wanted to get into, which has to deal with our good old our good old government and the nonsense that they like to do to
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah. I mean, everything comes back. It's like it's almost inborn that every encroachment or anything done above board, it almost always comes back to the Second Amendment, doesn't it? So
Right.
I mean, I feel like I talk about this way too much, but yeah, I'm happy for what the Supreme Court is doing, and yes, I happen to agree with Luis here. I don't agree with everything that the Supreme Court has done. In what will probably be a another landmark decision, I think this is bound to set a precedent. Just full transparency, and that comes down to what the ATF really has defined as their own authority. They have more power than they should be allowed as a government entity, regardless of what anyone thinks of the judicial branch and the executive branch of the United States, regardless, right? So the ATF earlier this year is pretty much everyone who even so much as cares a little bit about the Second Amendment probably knows. They had wrote down a rule that would ban pistol braces for asinine reasons. And as of when was this article written? It was done in the very first or the second week of the month that that ruling had been blocked, that the ATF could not enforce anyone in possession of pistol braces to surrender those.
Question.
Yep.
Question.
Okay.
Since when can the ATF truly enforce any of this nonsense?
And that's really the bigger question is why have we given the ATF so much power and authority in the first place? They basically make up rules as they go along, which is not that far away from what the rest of the U.S. government does. Anyhow, but with that being said, the reality of it is that the ATF should not be able to pass BS stuff like this without congressional approval. And even in front of, and I really wish Bandit was here for this part because he would probably be taking up for Massey again. Massey absolutely roasted ATF Director Dettelbach under congressional hearing to explain how a pistol brace, which is solely designed as a stabilizing application, how that somehow gives someone I don't know, a higher rate of fire with their weapon. I forget the exact verbiage. I'm going to have to try to find that clip.
It
It
looks
is the
scary.
stupidest thing.
It
And
looks
Jimbob is
scary.
tripping over himself the entire time that
But
this whole thing is going on.
it's easy, man. It looks scary.
It looks scary, so therefore it should be illegal. It's just like comparing your run of the mill Armalite AR-15 versus a Kentucky rifle from the 1700s. Okay, so you want to go with the statement that it was designed for muskets and smoothbore? Okay, I just put a golf ball sized hole through you. Have fun. Good
But
luck stitching that up.
the joke is the Second Amendment also referred to like corporations have nuclear weapons and access to tactical advanced weapons today. So I don't get that part. Like there's
I
mega
don't.
corporations currently right now with access to nuclear weapons. Those companies are access to advanced military technology which we can't even fathom, and that's under the rule of private entities. And those private entities are run by non-governmental officials. So there are people with excessive amounts of power. So what is this about?
And honestly, to me, this feels like this is the ATF trying to undermine the gun industry as a whole, but more so that they're taking the National Firearms Act of 1934 to its absolute limit and stretching the power that they were given under the provisions of the original NFA to the extreme.
They just want
That
another Waco. They just want to do
Yeah,
another
yeah,
show.
that's not lost on me, honestly. And sometimes I feel that way, that they would love nothing more than to completely screwball another,
So
another
wait,
Waco,
wait. So
another Ruby Ridge, something like
are
that.
are you leaning to what I think you're leaning to?
In what way? If they Waco use the Draco?
The Industrial Revolution and its consequences have been a disaster for the human race.
I wasn't exactly thinking that, but thank you. And there's always got to be a way to fit that in, isn't there?
I have to
No,
every time.
every time. It's just they have no jurisprudence here. There is no legal foundation for what the ATF tries to put in place every time they try to do something like this. They did this a few years ago, and honestly, I've got one I'm going to come back to a little later, Jimmy, and that is absolutely in concern to the cluster F that was the Liberty Safe incident. But regardless of how things unfold at a government level, it's almost like, okay, the government feels that, oh yay, we can do whatever we want and no one's going to question us because back the blue or some stupid shit. You know where I'm going with this, and that is they have absolutely way too much power, and no one is willing to openly question them under congressional scrutiny. I don't feel like
baby. Yeah.
I mean, the good thing is,
they have
I
too
think
much deference.
the
That's it.
unraveling is close to. We're close to the unraveling. So how it will pan out is such a humongous mystery. But
Yes.
we are at such a
And guess
crazy
what? When it
state of
unravels,
change.
when it does unravel, at least I'm here for it.
Speaking of things unraveling and getting crazy, what's the deal in Argentina?
Well, it's either going to be private corporations taking over the country or a potential rise of the people getting what they want. It's a 50-50. Some people are very scared and some people are very excited of just change.
What? Coca-Cola mobilizing death squads again? Sorry,
Oh God.
I
Oh,
didn't mean to go there. But
I mean,
These squats.
yes,
I guess my only thing is that when I'm looking at the layer of supervillains over there that we know is the World Economic Forum, and I find this guy in that list too, it just adds to my personal point of view where I'm like, well, they've got one for every team you could possibly think of, like, and they're all still
Lula is also so Brazil. But you look at it this way: Lula is very much the opposite. So you have this weird situation where even though they both come from that weird same collective, right? Lula, the current president for Brazil, also wanted to unify the Argentinian peso and the Brazilian real. So they wanted to unify it and then create a common currency, create a common exchange system. But at the same time, he is saying the opposite in many ways.
sure.
So they're both aligned with a few things, but also completely unaligned with a lot of other things.
But at the end, but at the end of the day, he meets with the same psychopaths that want us to eat cricket flour.
But a lot, yes, but a lot of this is the thing. I wouldn't say everyone at that collective is bad, but I'd say there's not a good like you have to be questioned if you are because it
Yes.
costs money to be a member.
Because I feel like I feel like even though this guy is everything that ANCAPs and libertarians love, like it's one of those situations where it seems too good to be true. I'm waiting for the Nigerian prince to tell me to send in, my share of the check before I get all of my money.
So the biggest challenge for him is just going to be the government itself, like him fighting against the government, even though everybody wants the dollarization of the economy, because once your economy is down this far down the hole, there is almost no solution except basically replacing your currency with another currency. What is the most stable, accessible currency currently available is the euro or the dollar.
Let's back up there for a moment, because Argentina has been in a plummeting rate of hyperinflation that I don't think most of us could even comprehend. That most of us could even comprehend on a rate, out here watching, out here listening.
Like currently at 150%.
150% inflation, like that's
so. And to give you context, so I was speaking to some Argentinians that do remote work from Argentina, and they do work with other countries and such. So what he does is he has to get paid through Miami, and then the people in Miami then send him the dollars to accounts he can access them without the Argentinian government taking 50% of any dollar that enters the country. So you get $1, they take 50 cents. You get $100, they get $50. Like they will take half your money.
So what's the name of this person we're talking about in Argentina specifically behind all of this?
Behind you mean the new president, or you're talking about
are we talking about the guy president elect, or are we talking about his predecessor?
Which was part of the also the economics. He was part involved in the economics.
This guy
of the country.
So
sorry, I'm not perfect with the names at the moment. There's too many names.
I mean, I'm not going to try to pronounce it because
Javier Milei.
Because we all know how well I butcher ones.
Hey,
they compare him to Trump because he's bombastic, but if you actually compare him, he's way more out there than Trump is. He's like Trump times 10. He goes around with a chainsaw.
I mean, his hairdo makes him look more like a Argentinian Boris Johnson, if I'm being honest. You can see that.
I can see it.
Yeah. I mean,
there's a costume there's a picture of him out there in a costume I've seen a few times.
Oh no, evidently he did that a couple of times, which is hilarious. He went around
carrying around a chainsaw.
He carried around a chainsaw because he's going to cut all those regulations.
Okay, I'm pulling one up now. Yeah, this is nuts.
Oh, this is
and he turned it. I saw he turned it on. Small chainsaw.
Okay.
That one's not small.
I mean, if I'm going to pull out a chainsaw, I'm going to pull out a good chainsaw, sir.
Oh, man.
He did it.
I just, I mean, I get it. I really do. Like I want it to be a good thing. I don't think there's nothing wrong with the promise
And it'll
of
make
You
the
know,
dollar
possibility.
stronger partially.
so yeah, I don't know. I don't have a lot of
I just don't believe
understanding
in a
of.
leader.
I don't understand a lot of South American politics, so I'm going to preface this statement with
It's a
that
chaotic
being said.
mess, but there's
It is a
46 million people in that country. That
yes,
country is gigantic. It's full of resources.
it's
And
huge.
so let's put it this way. Let's say he's successful in doing something similar to Norway. He brings that country up tremendously. People don't understand that Norway is a socialist country in interesting ways and also capitalist. Socialist in that they set up a fundamental foundation for the economy and for its people by creating one of the largest sovereign wealth funds on earth. How did they do that? They took all the oil wealth and they said, okay, no, none of this money can be touched by any politician in Norway.
But
None of it. It all has to be invested outside of the country because we're a small country. Look
see,
at it. Look at that.
this is like I don't know. You know
By
what
the
I'm
way, that is a
saying? Like,
crazy bio.
isn't it?
Yeah.
I can't say the first word because I'm
University.
illiterate. He's
Okay,
something in
so
economics. He's University of. Is this all still in his language?
No,
No,
it's. I've not read that word. It's probably another word of be like yeah, that's I've not read that word before.
he's written over.
Licenciat.
he's
Yeah,
okay.
I don't
So
even know what that is. That's interesting.
yeah, let's speak in theory for a moment. Uh, let's assume that based on his qualifications, he could bring something positive to South America, to Argentina specifically.
yeah.
And I'm thinking back a few years. Uh, I don't even know what the current state of Venezuela is at the moment, but as I think about South America, and it's it's obviously it's a continent of nation states, and they all have a common interest in trade. If Argentina suffers in the same vein as Venezuela did a couple of years ago, and I don't even know where Venezuela is today with their
A
rate
mess.
of hyperinflation. What affects one will affect all. And it is a lot to do with supply lines and a lot of the way that North America is held together by our dependency on supply lines to
Venezuela's
keep our
current
economy
inflation rate
going.
is 318%, but people start even looking at Venezuela because it's a lost cause. The entire economy
Yeah,
runs on
that
dollars.
that it's a failed state at this point. I would
They
have to
run on
agree.
dollars. Like everybody trades in dollars.
Yeah,
And so what's worse is because we export our inflation. That's why people don't comprehend. It's like, how is the inflation rated the way it is? But it doesn't feel that way, right? But it does in two ways. The housing prices, to an extent, showcase true inflation, and certain commodities. Because the way you have to look at inflation is we're exporting it, so other
but
countries are suffering it. So then they
right,
then expose that they export it back to us in
yeah,
trade. That's where
but
you witness it.
right, and but the way that we are impacted as Americans, at least that I feel, and I feel like I've talked about this enough that I probably would completely lose oxygen, is that our inflation and the fact that real wages are not keeping up with inflation is at one of the core roots of the problem for us, for North America, for the US in particular. And stagnant wages are are bad when you have runaway inflation. And
Yes.
it's a compounding issue. Man, we could spend hours talking about that topic. Um, but truly, my real concern for South America in the larger stakes is just in the fact that if Venezuela, for their part, if they can't make something successful of whatever you want to call this dude, it's almost a bleeding effect. They rely on their supply lines the same way we do between our states. They are nation states, but they still trade with each other and they rely on one another the same way we do as independent states of the
They were
Uh,
trading in US, so it's a lot of things happening, right? So
Yeah.
BRICS is this situation where what countries started doing is they started trading in alternative currencies instead of just trading in dollars. So the crypto boom has caused countries to think outside of the box. And they realize, wait, what the hell are we just trading in US dollars? Why do I need to buy a dollar in order to execute a trade with this other country? And it is a valid point. Also, another point is the reason we being the reserve currency is actually detrimental to us in relation to trade. It's bad for us. It's not good for us necessarily.
No, agreed.
No, it's all over the place. I mean, I was seeing today, and I was trying to find it so that I could bring it up. And Luis, maybe you'll know more about it than I do. But there was another country today talking about dropping central bank stuff and going gold backed. Like I didn't catch where it was. I want to say it was in the UK somewhere, but like it. And then this is not an uncommon thing either. Like this is something that's being talked about even on a state level. Because there's a clause in the United States law and stuff like that that says that it has to be gold backed for them to be able to create their own. But there are, I think, up to 19 states now looking at creating their own currency because they're sick of the crap show that's going on at the Federal Reserve and what's going on, with all that nonsense. Nothing, no one. Okay.
Oh,
I know
no.
Nebraska has its own bank system. I
Yes.
just don't know enough about it, but I remember hearing that they have one of the most independent banking systems in relation to the rest of the country. I just don't
It's
know
mostly-
enough, but I know that they've been building out their own internal system. Nebraska.
Yeah, it's mostly the farmers. The farmers got tired of getting screwed by the federal government, and they created their own banking system that's self-sustaining.
Yeah, tell me more.
So, I mean, that's about as far as I know.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. Like Nebraska, out of all the states, is like, oh, they're actually on the right path.
Yeah.
And
They got
anybody
about,
can create a bank. It just takes millions of dollars. It takes millions of dollars, but it's possible to
you
create
can
your own
lend,
bank.
right? But with the lending rules, you can have your own lending rules. You don't have to follow federal rules. By the way, hello everyone. I've missed
It's
y'all
about
dearly.
time. I was
I know, I'm
wondering
sorry. I'm a
when
busy
you were
guy.
going to show up this evening. I was hoping.
Yeah,
I'm
there
glad
he
you're
is.
here.
Well, they wouldn't let me broadcast from prison, so they frowned on that one. They said no. So it's all right though.
So how was it on the inside? Did they give you your 3 squares?
Yeah.
Did you drop the soap? Like
Yeah.
how's things been?
Nope. No, everything went smooth. I actually got in with a bunch of
Nice
cool
and
dudes.
smooth. Oh, so they actually do
Yeah.
have lube on the inside. That's interesting to know.
Allegedly. No, it was a surreal, strange experience. One I'd never want to do again, but like it wasn't all that bad. It really wasn't. So it's still ongoing. It's a struggle, but it's just I don't understand a lot of it. I really don't. Neither does my lawyer. So
Well,
I don't
brother, I'm
know.
glad you came out clean on the other side, at least for now.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I'm just holed up in West Texas for the holidays. I got a brief moment to myself outside, so. But good to see y'all. Good to get back in the groove. Try to get back in the swing. So.
Yeah, and welcome now. Of course, as I made mention earlier, we're doing lives now. You guys, all you folks out there watching and tuning in from either YouTube, Kick, Rumble, Odyssey, and on Facebook this evening because I have a 5th channel and I figured we'd play with it over there and see if we can get ourselves kicked off. Why not? It's always a good time to have some fun and see what's going on anyway.
Or
So.
just see if we can ruffle some feathers and upset.
Yeah, I'm a
people
huge
about
fan of Rumble. I mean, I dig it. I dig it wholly. Like, there's a whole bunch of people on Rumble that are cool people. So.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I Rumble, we've got a good following over there now. I noticed we're almost up to 500, so keep on that rolling. We do thank everybody that's out there doing that kind of stuff, man, and appreciate you guys paying attention and hanging in with us while we were having technical difficulties and taking the summer off. Like I have a black cloud that follows me, as Steven likes to say, so it was doing
Well, I
its
just said you
job.
might want
Dan
to.
Hammer.
I just noticed that it's real, and you might want to get it looked at. That's all. I'm no
Right,
doctor or
right.
cloud expert. So.
I mean, it is what it is.
Well,
It looks like every time Jimbobs get close to a computer, some 3-letter agent says, I can send something very beautiful to your computer, and then
Well, several trips and lots of communication between Steven and myself. I think we finally nailed it. So I think we're all right.
Yeah.
Finally,
I hope so.
Things have been running mighty smooth over here. I've been enjoying games
That's
of
good.
Fortnite with my son, and
Oh, that's good.
kicking this off over here. So
Yeah.
it's. In fact, I got on there with Steven and played the other night. He was in on our team. We were doing pretty good, wiping the clean.
There's a
We were
good
doing pretty good.
time.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That's a
You
good time.
guys ever want to
It's always
find
a
me
good
on
time.
there, man? You know, look for the Walnut Butcher. That's my gamer tag over there on for
Oh,
Epic
that's a good
Games.
one.
Over
Yeah,
there on
it
Epic
is.
Games, and you guys can come play with me.
Yeah, I definitely chuckled when I saw it. I was like, no, okay, I get it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you gotta have some fun with it, man. You gotta have some fun
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah, you got to.
So-
It's a good time.
So, and I guess speaking of rolling into different things that have been going on, I totally have this thing saved that you sent to us, Luis, in the group chat. This was guys, there's pure chaos in that thing that you guys would never even be able to understand, and I'm so glad that it's encrypted and could be easily deleted, because that group chat is just one of those awesome places that I love. But Luis sent us a open AI chat. What was it that it was? The letter from
Open
X,
letter.
the open
Yeah,
letter from
former
X.
employee.
The weird thing is, it's not signed, and
No.
and I just saw one from Google, and I love it. I didn't send it to you guys, but this one from Google was crazy. But we'll get to that. But it showcases that they're not talking about everything he did wrong, but it looks to be mostly about he screwed over the main people when he transitioned it from a nonprofit to a for-profit. And they deleted the letter. So yeah, this is a copy of the letter because Elon posted it, and it got deleted, and I had to find it in the comments.
Well, I will totally make the letter available on our website, unconstitutionalawakening.com, because I like that kind of stuff, and I'm not going to sit here and read this entire thing to you guys. So I just figured
I just
I'd bring it
saying,
up. But it's interesting to see how much these corporations are doing what corporations do best.
I really want to know how much the AI was leveraged to hurt people in any way possible. That's what I want to know.
Ooh, that's a
I
good
think that's one thing not being touched on, because if you talk about it, I think it'd be easy to know and find out, and for that to come down on you.
they essentially at the end, right? We don't feel that they are the right leadership for this company because of the effects it can have on the human race.
Yeah, if we allow it. I mean, I still feel like you only give people as much power as, they only have as much power as you give them, basically. Still, even with AI and the digital influence, how much we use the internet and our devices in general, like, I think that's the only true power we have left anymore anyway.
I mean, it is a powerful tool. Large language models are going to be one of the most powerful tools of our future, and thankfully, private large language models are becoming extremely powerful. So, this powerful tool is shifting to the public because open source is catching up to private, at least public-private. By public-private, I mean what we know exists. At least what we know exists already. The open source community is catching up, and then sometimes surpassing OpenAI's capabilities in certain skill sets.
And Luis,
I'd
I am very curious about that in regards to my post on Facebook about let's just go absolutely mental with it. We're gonna do all this stupid shit. Why not just take it to the extreme? Just train the AI, give it a bunch of absolutely harebrained crap to go on, and I would absolutely love to see how that actually plays out in practice.
Give it a touch of insanity and see how it plays out.
yeah, exactly. Give it the real human condition. Like,
give it 10 years of the
if you're going to
military or
train
12
an
years.
AI, it's geared behavior. It's meant to be fluid, and
a subset of information.
You take that away, and AI can become neurotic, and then you actually get to see humanity on the opposite end, and let them and let them figure that out.
I just wonder how many psychologists are going to try and use the study of AI to prove how much of an individual is their environment. I think that'd be interesting to look at too.
Yeah. There are so many
Um,
issues I have with AI as a construct in the first
But
place.
it's not AI still. It's advanced skip logic, where it determines the highest probability of the response based on the input it's given.
Okay.
Right. So
Even
the
if that
desired
is
outcome is what you put into it. I get
it
that.
it is a preferred outcome, but we are on the bleeding edge of what we expect virtual intelligence to do for us.
Well, I
Skip
also
logic
think like
versus true
when you get
artificial
the
intelligence,
ghost,
true
yeah,
AI.
when you get the ghost in the machine where skip logic starts skipping itself for its own ends instead of the desired outcome,
Yeah.
that could become an issue.
And that's really, with the fact that it seems like we're fully embracing that as in society. And I made
Well, no, I
reference
think
to
that
this.
the tech mongers are embracing it. Everyone else is like, I don't think we should be doing this.
No,
No, I
the tech
should be doing this to a degree because it is going to help.
Well,
it
yes,
Get rid
but
of
it can
those people in
also
the first
hurt.
place.
all right.
Yeah, but
I don't mean
I think Google though,
yeah.
when they dropped the do no harm, I think it was game over at that point. They didn't care anymore
Well, this is
All
the
right.
because
fun
no one
part.
could stop them.
I
All right.
sent you
I'm
a
gonna
letter from an ex Google employee, and one of the beautiful quotes is the
All right.
best part. They don't know how Google Vision works.
Oh yeah. I've seen
You
that.
could share that later.
I'm
They
just
trained it
Go
up.
over that letter.
I'm in a position. I'm currently in a thought that I feel like I'm rehashing things I've already said and going back to first lightning from over a year ago. Feynman once said, "The key that opens the gate to heaven will open the gate to hell." That
The
didn't
road
just
to heaven
apply.
is paved with the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was
that one's
Dante's
absolutely
Inferno.
true. Yeah, that's
So
absolutely.
should we learn from old
Yeah,
stories? Oh
yeah.
yeah,
Well, I mean, I
History
think they're there
repeats
to
itself,
teach
right?
us. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think they're there
it
to
is
teach us.
there to be a lesson. It's not to
this is
be meant to be
the
an
letter I'm
instruction
talking
manual.
about. This is signed.
Mhm.
This is by somebody, and they're saying who they are.
And I'm gonna make sure that because this I mean that's a good lengthy bit of a letter. I'm gonna make sure that this one gets shared too in the with the episode, of course, over there on the website, so that you guys can check these letters out yourself because they are a little. It's interesting and kind of unnerving, I guess, at the same time. You're just I don't know how to feel about it.
We are getting to
But
the point where the system is going to be unrecognizable by human beings. So the complexity.
when they start writing their own code, and the machine will learn how to skip
I
steps
heard a while
and
back
return results.
YouTube doesn't know how YouTube works.
So you know
Well, I
The people
mean,
at
they
YouTube
hired a
don't know
bunch of people that
completely
don't know
how it
what they're
works.
doing either.
so funny. Wait, so well, here's a funny thing. Neptune, you kind of threw back to our special that we had the other last year or so. We actually did like two of them, kind of talking about weird technology that some of these agencies and stuff may have, and something else was back in the news feed, I guess you could say, the other day that I found quite interesting, and it had to do with that missing flight, that MH370
Hmm.
that went missing a little while ago.
CNN
And so
covered as what was it? A black hole. Remember,
so
for 1 year, CNN nonstop coverage of this plane. This is so insane. That time frame was so weird. Every
but
day, CNN reporting on that plane. That's all they could do.
but the most recent thing that's been out is this interesting theory that they have, and we've had a couple videos bouncing around. Bandit sent a few. I wish he was here for this, and of course Luis
But
sent
show the
some.
visuals. I mean, it's
But
actually
I want to show
Yeah.
this video for you guys while we're sitting here chatting. Like I think I'm gonna leave the sound off of it and just let it play. But it's
Yeah.
like while we're sitting here talking, because it's super interesting to see what's going on here. Like, and they claim
so.
this is real.
So this came out a while back, and it's been thoroughly analyzed for a while now, and they
Mhm.
suspect it's American technology. And if the U.S. government has technology this advanced, which some patents show they do, um, Okay, so American military supremacy is absolute and total. So what is all this show about? And what is this pony show that we're having if the American government is 100 years ahead of the rest of the world?
That's
Like,
right.
why is the show happening?
Okay,
So
but what if it is a breakaway part of the military? They got so advanced, no one can stop them. What if it's not exactly our own military? Because it's not under the jurisdiction of the current administration.
I mean, so Metal Gear Solid level. We're at Metal Gear Solid reality. So
Probably close
Metal
to
Gear Solid
that.
2.
Yeah. Or
So there's an AI
I
inside of the military.
I think that if it was malevolent, it would have destroyed the plane in one go. I think it was there to salvage something from the plane or save the people or something.
Remember that
It
got people
feels
that were
like,
inside of the plane. Some of them, the scientist.
well, that's what I
important
mean.
ones.
I think there was something about it that was meant to be saved. I don't think it was malicious personally. Just from watching the video, because they had every capability of just knocking the wings off and letting it go.
So
They
that was
didn't.
the perspective from a military drone and a satellite, and I forgot what else. There's like multiple points of view. There's the video link, the YouTube video, as a full breakdown, but that it's also our surveillance. Remember when it happened, I thought, wait, we can see everything, like everything. How is there no footage? And we were right. There was footage. It's just they weren't releasing it. And then
Yep.
somebody
Well,
leaked it.
that's the other thing I find strange about it. That if it was leaked and it is definitely cropped from a full screen image, it's like recorded onto a secondary device. It looks like. So I think there's a lot more to this than people lead on, including our own government. But also, like, I don't know if they can release all the details for some strange reason. That's the part I can't figure out. Why all the deception all the years?
Because we live in
Why?
a theater. It's all theater.
Okay, but like we know it's all a big show. None of it's real. It's all a clown world. We already know this. Most people know this. Like, why continue the charade? Why the deception? The further deception.
What happens when it breaks down? How will people think?
Mostly they'll be free to think for whatever they want. I mean, for themselves mostly.
Do people
They,
want to think
they
for
won't have
themselves?
to have
Do you think
people don't need
all
their hands
people want to
held.
think for themselves? I don't.
It
You
doesn't
know, most people
matter.
don't think for themselves.
Yeah, but they're going to have to start someday. But we don't need the theater and deception if most of us are like, this is theater and deception. That
This is
last
true.
30%, they can hang out and do whatever they want. You know, they can be the Jerrys of the show. I don't care.
It's estimated the majority of the planets are Jerry's.
Well, it's not even that they're Jerry's; it's that they're just literally part of the simulation.
Oh, I mean, that's
Okay,
in a
but
whole
like,
other
why?
direction.
Why do we need the deception anymore? That part I don't get.
Oh, I mean, I
Like,
don't know why we need the deception like that. I mean, I figure,
Because fuck them, that's why.
but I mean, I really don't know.
well, that's the part I can't figure out. Like, it's
But
been going on so long. The torch has been carried by so many people. It's
hey,
been so compartmentalized. But
you
we
know,
all have figured it out to a point. I mean, if we laymen can figure it out, the people doing it have to know. And they're just doing it to collect a paycheck because they work big security or their Q levels clearance on everything. Like, I don't get it.
You just said it. People are just collecting
That,
paychecks. At the end of the day, you got to survive, right?
but
You
that
have to
money's
survive.
worthless. All
true,
that dark spending has landed us where we're at now.
true,
All of it.
true.
All
What
the
is it?
war
22
spending,
trillion?
unnecessary war. Yeah, completely unnecessary wars. Like, what was the point of killing off the trade center, the World Trade Center? What was the point of doing all of that when they could have just been open and honest from way back when?
How
And
can you
then,
promote a war if there's no true enemy?
but we don't need wars. We don't need foreign wars. We don't need to be involved in them. We don't need to be. That's not our circus, not our clowns.
But
We
the
don't
money
need that.
printer won't go.
But they did though. They did it anyway. Why do we pay taxes if they can print money? Why? What's the point of that?
Come on, control.
Okay, but again, like, is it really control? Can't we all just like fill out our W-4s exempt and say fuck them?
You have to have critical mass for that to work.
We're at critical mass, I think.
We're close
We're
to it. That's what I
there.
mean. The unraveling
We're
is upon us.
there.
Well, and I think that's
And
I
I'm
think
being
that's just what
serious.
it is. Like I think
The unraveling of change is coming
sure,
because
sure. Like I've made this comparison. I make this comparison almost every voting season, but the last one was a good comparison anyway. All outside of all of the nonsense that was the show that they put on for the voting season, besides all the Mango Mussolini and the cabbage in chief currently's nonsense, the real truth is that 81.63% of Americans did not partake in the game. So that's the majority.
That's a huge
So-
message to send.
So when over 80% of the country says your game's stupid, I'm done playing it, then like Luis keeps saying, the unraveling's there, and it's really there. We talk about all of this kind of stuff, like even whether it be in memes or whether it be on Facebook or whether it be in real life, is when we're talking about this stuff here too. But the reality that I just always like to bring up, and I know Bandit would back me if he was here, is when you go out and you actually talk to your neighbor, like most of this isn't even true. You know what I'm saying? Like there's so many people that don't partake, that the true majority is the people that are already trying to continue their life and ignore and quiet quit the United States government. Because if it's one thing this generation can do, we can quiet quit the crap out of something.
but
Well,
quiet
yeah, 'cause
quitting
it's-
is not enough.
It isn't. You're
Well,
right.
They want to
it's-
control us with inflation because it's one of the most powerful tools. But
Okay,
Inflation
well-
and technology.
Yeah, I mean, two things that we can control on our own by finding other ways that, like trading.
Yes.
Instead of changing money, I mean, we can trade goods and services, barter. Like
Yes.
they can't control every aspect. They want to, but they can't. They know that, and I think that's why there's a huge fear plugs all the time. I think all of these
CBDCs.
false
Well-
flags and all of these things are to.
In the water that turn the freaking frogs gay.
Oh man, I can't believe he quit.
I'm
That
glad he
just kind of
quit.
made my day.
Wait, he
Because the
quit?
guy,
Oh, you
Yeah,
didn't
no,
you
he's
didn't know
out.
that Bill Hicks
he
quit?
checked out.
He's
Yeah,
finally
Bill Hicks
retired.
quit.
He's finally retiring the character of Alex Jones and probably going to
Yep.
go back to doing stand up.
Yeah.
I'd probably be healthier for him, I think.
Yeah, he looks like his health has deteriorated a lot since the court case.
Yeah.
He looked like a potato.
Oh,
A sweaty
he's
potato.
gained so much weight. Poor
A
guy.
big,
Well, like,
big, sweaty potato.
I think it's also the same thing with Rush Limbaugh. I mean, like, he's basically patterning himself after Rush Limbaugh. Like, nobody gives a crap. So
became
I'm
a
leaving.
oxy
Bye.
addict.
You mean Jim Morrison?
Right. Yeah, okay, I know it, but I'm just
I
saying.
forgot about
In a
that
similar
idea.
fashion, as one character goes, so does the other. That's what I mean. So
Wait. What's the actual possibility he's Jim Morrison if there was a close proximity?
if you've seen the photos and you've seen the photos through the years, you're gonna be like, oh shit, what if? Or at the very minimum, they're related somehow. The very minimum.
I didn't follow Jim Morrison at all, so I have no context of Jim Morrison. And with Bill Hicks, I mainly just followed his comedy, which was amazing at the time. And what's amazing with Bill Hicks's comedy is you watch it now, it's 100% relevant. It's very much like George Carlin. You can watch George Carlin today, 20 years later, and you're like, it's like he did the stand-up yesterday.
More relevant today, I think, because we feel it all. It's closer. It's way closer to home now. And I'm not going to say that. I would say Bill Hicks is definitely on the planning committee. And a bunch of others who had large voices, they're on the planning committee. That's how they know. For sure.
That's
100%.
always been weird with Alex Jones is when you hear him talking, at least when he did interviews with the man that gets access to everyone, he kind of shows that he has this weird access. And he did mention his mother, and I've never looked into who is Alex Jones's mother, but
What, you
there's
mean
that.
Bill Hicks' mother?
Okay.
I was waiting on that to be said.
That's right. That's right.
Hey, I will be on that bandwagon until I see the writing on the
Because
wall.
Bill Hicks
I
just
see
looks
it.
like a
It's
young
easy.
Alex Jones if you feel it from the aspect of asking authority
Well,
what's happening on
that
psychedelics.
there is a particular video where Alex Jones is on a radio show, and you see him behind the desk, and he's jockeying. He looks nothing like Bill Hicks. He is the Alex Jones who was disappeared and replaced by Bill Hicks. Guaranteed. He looks nothing like. He's taller than him and everything. Looks completely different. And
You
it's
know,
the oldest known footage I've
perspective
seen.
perspective on on the computer, perspective on the camera, does justice for everybody. Like a lot of people wouldn't believe that I'm a super tiny midget in real life that has
Right.
super tiny
But he
hands.
stood up. Right. But he stood up during the show. And I'm familiar with what a broadcast studio looks like in real life. And I was like, okay, he's definitely taller than Bill Hicks. For what? I just really feel like that's so credible on so many levels. And if he came out and admitted it, I'd be no surprise at all.
Regardless, though, he still was 100% controlled ops. Like you can't change my mind
But yeah,
there. Like
because he had
there's
access to
just
information
no.
and called stuff out way before people even did studies on things like
Months
the
or
gay
years
frogs thing.
before
Yeah,
the turning the frogs gay a story, which you can find real science on it,
yeah,
is very serious. It has to
yeah.
do with the plastics, and
The
Neptune is a big
PFCs.
fan
Yeah,
of calling out the fact that
Yeah.
actually one of the biggest global crises that we are not paying attention to is the plastics. Plastics
yeah.
is I would call plastics probably the number one collective crisis on the planet.
I I think there is a second
I
fast
agree with you,
We
approaching
have a
Neptune.
whole
I
crisis.
think it's
hour
the
to talk
number
about
one
this topic.
problem.
Well, I
No,
think that there's one quickly rising is these graphene or graphite batteries. People
How
are just
wait,
going to
how
throw
are
these
they a
away
problem? I mean,
because
lithium is terrible.
you can't take a graphene battery apart. You can't recycle it properly without completely destroying it.
But
Fair.
graphene
And those
is
batteries,
carbon
those
based.
batteries are going to hit. Yes, but the graphene itself is incredibly dangerous, especially to human cells. That's why it has not been a huge takeoff until they figure out how to bring it back in.
Oh, I've not heard this part. So how is graphene
Yeah,
exactly dangerous to humans?
when it breaks off in little bits and it gets in your body, it will break apart your DNA, just
Interesting.
kind of like how plastic does,
I mean,
but on
lithium
a
is
much
also
quicker scale.
extremely toxic to humans and explosive.
Right? It
Yeah.
is. And when it burns, it goes in the atmosphere and we breathe it in along with all the rest of the plastic and aluminum that was in the vehicle. But I feel like lithium, yes, is a danger. Plastic is an extreme danger, but there is a rapidly approaching fourth horseman.
I've,
And if it gets loose, there's no putting that genie back in the bottle.
I've tried to follow this because I have a pretty well invested interest in keeping up with lithium ion technology and
Fair.
obviously
I've seen
graphene.
some cool recyclers. They
It,
use a black goo or a black liquid to recover it so it doesn't hit the oxygen and it gets
it's
pressed out and they can
it,
reuse
it's
it.
it's interesting, and I don't want to open a whole rabbit hole here because we'll basically be going back to a point of talking about something I talked about a year and a half ago, which concerns the obviously now to us, which are clear implications of nuclear waste and
Okay.
graphene. So obviously, graphene batteries, for their part, uh, apart from the implications of how they could be toxic to humans, uh, what do we
I
do
mean,
with
worse than TFCs.
yeah, what do we do with the waste? And lithium ion batteries for their part, obviously that's a whole rabbit hole we could definitely jump
It's
down.
it's becoming
Especially
commercially
considering
viable. Yeah.
when
I
you
mean, to
consider the fact
recycle it,
that
yes.
yeah, when you consider for lithium ion batteries and such that it requires almost the same level, if not more, of an output to produce a lithium battery that
Right.
it parasitic power loss is the phrase I'm thinking of. You're not efficient in building these batteries.
It takes
Right.
so an electric car for
Yeah.
it to become equal to a regular car
Yeah.
in terms of its waste, it has to drive over 90,000 miles just to equal. And a
For
pickup
to
is
offset it.
150,000 miles before it compares to an internal combustion engine.
Right.
So before
Mhm.
that, they are dirtier, which
And
that gives you a big, like, no, 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 no. This is not the future we want. And Japan
no,
actually is
it's-
pushing against electric because they know how their power grid works, and the Japanese lawmakers were like, no, 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 no. We're not doing this. We're not
they
going electric.
Yeah.
We don't
but
have the capability to
for
produce the power required.
for their part, they have been doing more research into lithium technology longer than we have, at least as far as the American market is concerned. Japan was working on this as far back as the late 80s with a lot of the concepts that they were working on. And I'm specifically referring to the Japanese presidential state car, the Toyota Century. There was an idea, hey, maybe we can make this car electric and we can make it more efficient and that sort of thing, right? Obviously, Honda and Toyota both came to a conclusion that, oh, this is probably a bad idea, but they're not part of the American market, right? So it never took off and it was pretty much pushed by the wayside. But that's the way things go. Is America always thinks America's first in a lot of tech research, and we're not, unfortunately.
No,
We're often
not yet
lagging behind
anyway.
in a lot of ways. Like we excel in some ways, but we definitely lag behind in others.
Is mayonnaise
Telecommunications technology, especially being one of the lackluster points of uh, research in the American sector.
Well, I'm not gonna
We
lie.
definitely
When
don't
it comes to a lot of
succeed
this
there.
kind of stuff, I'm definitely regarded because, like, I needed you and Steven here to save my behind because I'm so far behind. Back in the day, I was the go-to guy. I used to be the guy who downloaded all the torrent files and did all the transferring and got everybody movies and stuff like that. And now I'm so far out of the loop that
Yeah.
I
My
But you're
struggle
not that
into it.
far out.
my
You
It's
my
haven't
back
missed
in
much.
vogue
you're
because of
not
all the streaming platforms. It's back in
my
vogue.
the thing that really just concerns me honestly is for any technology that's meant to replace, especially in the automotive sector, combustion engines. Good luck proving sometime in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years that you have something that is somehow more eco friendly in the whole shot and more reliable than a combustion engine. And
Well, I
the
do have something.
implications of lithium
Yeah,
and graphene batteries as that technology has started
well,
to take off. That's just
and that's cool. Like I'm all about it, but at the same time, that is not something we want loose in
it,
nature.
it worries the hell out of me.
Yeah.
It's just it concerns me on so many levels that it cannot be broken down, and graphene
Well,
in
Well,
particular,
like
basically, it's like
safely broken
we
down. Yeah.
yeah, what are we gonna do? Drop this shit in a bunch of fucking oil barrels and throw it off the coast of New Jersey?
no, I
I
think
mean,
we're
it's
going
kind of
to
what
go
they
to
did in
recycle them.
California.
No, no, no. I do
Wait,
think
They
I
did.
thought that was go to.
I'm reaching, but you get my point.
I thought that was what we.
Right.
I thought we treat it like we do car batteries, and we walk them out to the ocean and feed them to the eels.
We should not be doing that. I highly discourage such activities
Throw your
because
car
it's a
batteries
waste
in
of
the
perfectly
ocean.
good lead. Yeah, it's perfectly good lead. Why are we doing this? But on a serious note, I'm super looking forward to hydrogen power. I'm super looking forward to the conversion from gasoline engines to hydrogen. That
Toyota.
is going to
Toyota's been
be,
doing it.
Yep.
I'm not talking about new. I'm talking about I intend to fully put a hydrogen system on my truck. I am going to run it off water, and I don't care what other people say or do or think.
We need
And
to,
many
friend-
people
we
have
need
been
to protect him.
disappeared.
a friend
Jimmy,
of
we need to
mine
protect him.
a friend of mine put a propane conversion on his pickup
Mhm.
truck, and I
Yep.
gotta say that is top tier stuff right there because he can go
Yeah.
a really long distance on a tank of propane.
Right.
Well,
And
that's the thing. Just even
there's a market
gas
here
is
in
good.
there's a market here in Oklahoma with natural gas. Natural gas conversions are like you can go pick it up and put it on yourself.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
So,
Baby.
I want to get
I
away
believe
from
it's
this
safer
fossil
than
fuel
hydrogen, though.
nonsense.
I think it's actually even safer than hydrogen.
Oh, natural gas for sure. But propane is heavy, so it's going to go to the ground. Natural gas sort of dissipates. Hydrogen goes straight up. In the event of any, like I'll be making hydrogen on the fly. I will not be storing it except for a small bottle under the hood at the top of the engine. That's it.
So, of course, you guys, being Captain Conspiracy and who I am, and all this talk of things that are covered up by our government and other governments all around the world and such like that.
And the technocrats. Yeah.
I'm a big believer that that they've been lying to us worldwide for a really long time anyway, and they claim maybe it's for our own good, but maybe it isn't. Who really knows? The truth is out there, and an interesting thing about the truth being out there
I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
that my good buddy Steven is just actually
Where's
learning
Steve?
about, I believe. But I've known about for a while, and I always look forward to when people find things out about it. I guess tonight I'm gonna drop a little knowledge on everybody that I can with the stuff that I got about it. It is called the Geneva Bible, and it is very historically significant because it is the first translation of the Bible into English, preceding the King James version by 51 years. In fact,
Also had notes.
In fact, it was the primary Bible of the 16th century. In Protestantism, it was used by Shakespeare, Oliver Cromwell, John Knox, John Donne, and many others. And it was even supposedly taken here to the Americas on the Mayflower to try and, outrun things, because there was a time where this Bible was decreed incorrect and banned, and you had kings burning it and getting rid of it left and right. So I thought it would be a good thing to kind of bring up to you guys, because this Bible was in, the 1500s. We're talking possibly 1539 when they started translating and using this one. And I've found a few really old Bibles. In fact, I know of one here in town that's supposed to be from the 1700s. I'm not sure if it's going to be a Geneva Bible or if it's not, but it's really interesting seeing the pictures of it because of all the pictures and stuff that are inside of it. And what is a big interesting thing about the Geneva Bible, I guess, from my perspective, is the books that were included in that Bible that were hence later deleted by King James and the people who translated it on their end, which I always like to make mention. Remember, King James was a studying demonologist and into a bunch of things that were counter Christianity, but that's just things that you learn when you're studying history. And I wanted to bring this thing to you guys' attention because it's a really neat thing. It's a really cool thing to talk about and share, and for you guys to research into, because history is not what they say it is, especially being the way the news is covered up and stuff like that. I truly believe our history is one for the books. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no telling what's hidden there.
I mean, technically, I don't believe it's even 2023, so let's
Me
wear
either.
that off.
Yeah.
Right. There's so many things that, yes, agree. There's so many things that have just been altered by the whims and egos of those who had the power to do so. We have no idea what year it really is. We can go by the stars and constellations that people marked years and years ago and compare it to today. We get a rough estimate of the time from that time to our time. But like the Geneva Bible in general, I could not believe that King James outlawed the Geneva Bible, basically. I mean, on a very low level, he was like, yeah, we're not going to do this. And if you're with the king and the church, and you get the king's protection, but otherwise you're on your own. And that's kind of how it went. And I didn't know this, but I'm not big on Switzerland. And I haven't been for some time because I think there's a lot there that's being hidden. And that's kind of ground zero for a lot of our fake history. And I didn't know this, but Geneva at that time was a city state. It was not really a part of Switzerland. It was kind of like a free haven. Free thinkers went there. It was basically kind of the roots of America without American government.
I thought
You
I
were
thought
free to
I
come
thought it
and
was
learn.
a country
At
made
the,
up by Japan so that they could steal all the fish in the area.
and also not compete in their watch contests. Probably that
Yes.
too. But I digress. The point is that this was a time where the free thinkers came together. They put notes. They put notes in like, hey, we think this means this, and this is why. Like it was full of notations by all the people that translated it. Okay, right, but they were working on best guess from what they had from the original Greek and the Aramaic, and
Sure.
they did the best they could. And there's books in the Geneva Bible that are not included in the Apocrypha. Like I can't
Correct.
remember the one straight off the top of my head, but it's
I
like
mean,
they wanted these things to just straight
a
disappear,
few
and
a
they
few
did.
a few examples that I can throw right to you that I always every time I bring them up to any modern Christian or mainstream Christian, they always want to give me flack about it, but I don't care. But
Mhm.
there's of course the Book of Enoch, the Gospel of Thomas, which I always is highly recommended if you can ever find copies of that. PDFs do exist. In fact, I have one that I share on an open file out there. I'll reshare again. Um, and even the Gospel of Mary Magdalene is something that
Mhm.
exists. And these were all books that were inside of the Geneva Bible as well. Three of like 83 books that were deleted
And can
when
we
the
Mhm.
repeat
Bible
that
was.
Mary Magdalene was not a prostitute?
She was not.
Yeah,
No.
she was painted as such by the I believe it was the Council of Nicaea that had to vilify her to make sure she did not become a part of the common system that was created by the Romans.
I don't
Was
know
it?
if you guys. I know you two weren't a part of the show back then, but Neptune was. We had this fella that was on here that he blew our minds a little bit, and he's sort of culty. But he got to talking about he hinted around at this kind of stuff and stuff like that, and like
Mhm.
I'm on this train too, because in the Gospel of Mary it talks about her and her and Jesus's children,
Well, the
and
Holy Blood,
Right.
Holy
So
Grail goes over that idea.
the
yeah,
Merovingian line is the line
right,
from Jesus. Yeah. No,
right,
I've heard
right,
this, and I kind of think
right.
like very much possible, and I think there's still a lot of things that are hidden, very secret society stuff. I don't know if it's really honestly connected and if the movies were accurate or not, but it does raise a lot of interesting points.
It's true. It's
Like,
true. But I mean,
what
it's
if?
these are the kind of questions that I like to get into and I like to ask and I like for other people to research into too, because everything's not as cut and dry as you think it is. And I see a lot of conspiracy minded people that run themselves right back into weird dead ends. And it always seems to be the same kind of dead ends. And I'm just like, hey, wait, look outside of this a little bit more because
Hmm.
there's still partial truths to even what you think is true. You know what I mean? Like that. I'm the crazy guy. I could believe anything out there. Leaning back to where we were talking about Jim Morrison and Rush Limbaugh, like that. That's a total
Right.
conspiracy. I advise you to look into just because it's fun. If it's anything, like
Yeah.
it's always good to take in all of these other perspectives because if you can take in as many perspectives as possible, you can actually come up with a clearer perspective for yourself than you would if you would just take in, A and B and what and who tells you what's right from wrong. I
That's
believe
what's
in
healed
Or
me.
just, right.
yeah,
Or at least being
yeah,
knowledgeable about it,
nice,
whether it's right or wrong. So,
I mean,
right.
I've been doing things that doctors would tell you not to do. Doing a lot
Oh,
of things that
well,
me
doctors
that's
would
too for
tell
probably
you.
years,
really
bro.
smart, actually.
Me too for
I
years,
mean,
bro.
if they were pushing masking, that's probably not the doctor you want to see. Just saying.
Hey,
So,
so
I won't talk about the other things, but I digress.
oh no, of course, no. This is has been going on, like this has actually gone way better than I expected it to go. Like this has been, I've had a blast with this, and I'm excited to share the big surprise I've had for you guys this evening, leading up towards the
Oh
end of the show. That's
no.
going to eat up a little bit of time. So
Sorry, I gotta go.
Where are you going?
I'm sure everybody that is out there, watching and enjoying, even the folks that'll be listening to the aftermath and such like that, and hopefully you guys
Oh
here
no.
are familiar with the game Cards Against Humanity. So
Okay.
so I'm always looking for something fun to do, and I was like, well, let's do something interesting tonight. Let's play our own weird little version of Cards Against Humanity. So I have randomly sent each of you 10 answer cards that I found myself and cut out. I've been working really hard for 2 days on this. And what I
I
want
was
to do,
wondering what this was. I was like, what is this insane list
Yep.
of things?
So what I want to do is you have your deck of answers in front of you. I have
Oh no.
I have a card. I have a Cards Against Humanity. I have a Cards Against Humanity card generator, and so I'm going to generate a question card, and you guys are going to choose from your answers and give me the answer off. I would at least like to do 3 questions. That's why you have up to 10 cards to choose from.
Let's do it.
Depending on how it goes, we might do 1 or 2 more questions because
Let's fucking go. I'm here for it.
So I was hoping you'd be here for it, Neptune. I'm glad you decided to stick it out with us for this evening. So for the folks at home, get ready, I think, for what is going to become the new funnest segment of the Unconstitutional Awakening podcast, because what could be better than seeing your favorite people say some of the most off-the-wall things you've ever come up with? I chose
the
it
most
random.
terrible. Yeah,
I-
random.
I've chosen the only rule I ask is that once you use a card, you cannot use that card again. That way we can keep it spicy. So the first card of
I'm
tonight.
still trying to get my card. I'm sorry.
I'm just reading them over because all of them are insane, and I don't really want to read them.
Oh, I know. I knew you would have trouble with it, but I knew it would be so much fun. So, so for the first one, we'll make this one kind of easy. The first question card that popped up for me is, I woke up this morning to blank. And we're going to start with you, I think, Neptune. What card would you like to throw into the answer question here?
Pillow Pants, the kitty troll. Didn't use the actual word there, but
Oh God! Oh, I was afraid you'd use that one right off the bat.
it was that one and another one you threw at me. But that one, that one was perfect for that.
All right, Luis.
Off-duty Nazis just looking for a good time. That's the
Carry
PG
on
one.
here watching us right now.
There is actually people
I see
watching us right
DT
now.
actually in the chat.
Oh yeah, there's quite a few people out here in the chat hanging out with us.
I know, right? Whoever defeated media, exactly.
Defeat the media. I know that's our folks down there in Australia or our buddy in Pennsylvania, one of the two. But either way, I hope you're enjoying it.
No,
we've got to
the
keep
cards are
things
worse
loud.
than that. I just
So-
can't say it.
So Stephen, we're on to you. Are you ready to share an answer with us?
Steven's looking at them and thinking,
I know he's
oh
looking at
God,
them.
what did you send, Steve?
Need Jeopardy music for this one.
You probably sent the not rated for. Okay, yes. Where are you? Come on,
Where are
Steve.
you? Where are you, Stephen? Come on, buddy. Read
Can
us
you
an
hear
answer.
us? No. Steve, where are you?
Steven. See, he
Did
got
we
in.
lose you, bro?
He got in on his phone, and that's where I had to send everything.
Oh,
Oh, there he
there
is.
you go.
I see a
Oh no,
face.
I'm here. I'm just trying to find. I cannot find where the cards are. I'm looking.
I literally sent them to mine and your private chat.
That. Okay.
There you go.
That way, everybody had separate cards and couldn't.
Yes, I had to figure out what the heck was going on when you sent me these assorted cards that looked interesting. I was like, okay.
Listen, I've been holding this secret for like 3 days because I thought this would be a really cool
Oh no,
idea.
this is crazy. Just we have to have a
You have to edit it a little bit. I understand.
No. It's just
We're gonna go with insisting Jesus is technically a zombie, and so is, I guess, Lazarus. Let's go there. Let's go with that one first.
All right. That's good.
Sorry,
That's good.
when I flip the app, I guess it cuts everything off. Sorry about that, everybody.
No, it's okay. It's quite all right. So
All right, I
guess,
have my cards. Let us proceed.
good. So I guess from there we're gonna hit the refresh button over here so I can see what it was. And what's the last thing you would do if you were on the Titanic while it was sinking? We're gonna go to
Hope you
Neptune.
get me. You left me a good thing.
Repeat it.
What is the last thing you would do if you were on the Titanic while it was sinking?
A hamster with a thriving erection.
Luis?
I mean, if possible, Girls Gone Wild. There was another one, but I couldn't read it.
Yeah, I've got a couple. Like, I think I'm just gonna dump this one and get rid of it. Murdering innocent children, like they're not gonna make it anyway. So,
Why?
Dark.
well, we're all gonna die anyway. So, best they not suffer. That's all.
Well, according to a Titanic survivor, the boat didn't sink. So there's that.
Well,
Oh,
okay, the ones that got left behind. How about that?
This is gonna be good right here. This you'll like this one. You'll appreciate this one because it'll give you an opportunity.
Only the audience can, I guess, determine who wins each round.
Oh,
This is gonna give you the opportunity to there it is, to give two answers because this one that popped up has two blanks. So in Mexico, you can do blank while you are blank. Neptune.
Give me a moment. Come back to me. Let me figure this out for a moment. Since it's a pick two, I'm gonna have to. In Mexico, you can do blank.
Blank while you are blank.
All right. Give me just a moment. I have to get some Jeopardy.
Oh, I
music
got it.
going
I
for this one.
win. I win this one.
Okay. What you got?
Slightly more than 3 ounces of cum while sharding. Yep, that fit perfectly. I think I win that one. Steve?
Oh.
Steven?
I have them. We're probably on the same bus to hell after this. Okay. None on none action while mocking autistic children because they have no feeling. Oh God, I can't even hardly say it. What have you done? What have you done, sir?
These are not
All right.
Well, I don't like this game. I knew I should have dipped. This is too much. I can't.
These are not
No,
our
but-
You know my father-in-law's a
got it.
pastor. I hope he's not watching. Please.
Yep. I had to. I needed a
I don't
moment.
like this game. I don't like this game anymore.
Yeah, I had to think for a moment. I was looking through the cards that you sent me, Jimmy, but I got it, and I'm not reusing anything.
Okay.
In
Okay.
Mexico, I can do Axl Rose while being frozen carbonite with a raging erection.
And is that it? Okay.
I can do Axl Rose while being frozen
I know I'm being
in
punished.
carbonite with a raging erection.
I know I'm being punished here because you guys have way better cards than me. This is intentional. 100.
No, I promise. Actually, I let I blindly let the kids just poke on the screen to pick y'all's 10 cards. So
Oh, okay.
None on none action.
Children selected this for
Okay.
you. Do you feel better?
There's
about
worse
that?
ones. Just so the
No.
audience knows, there are worse ones in my pile. I'm trying to get like some of these medium ones off. I
I have a
can't
funny
even.
one that I just has not come up yet, and one I don't even understand what it means.
you guys got any cards you'd like to share? Or would you like to throw one more out there just to do it?
I mean, do you have one more?
Yeah, throw
Just to do what?
another one at us. I probably
One more. Here we
Yeah,
Here we go.
I got another one. I can probably get
And the randomizer says, how did you get out of your last speeding ticket?
I gotta go.
Oh,
I gotta
got
go.
one.
I gotta leave. I gotta leave now. I have to go.
Okay,
Oh,
so mine is Mel Gibson mucking stutters. That's how I got out of the ticket. I did a Mel Gibson.
Oh shit!
This one fell perfectly in line.
How did I get out of a ticket?
Yeah.
To get out of the ticket.
Lego recreations of famous porn scenes.
Lego recreations.
I know for a fact you did this to me on purpose. I know you did this to me on purpose, but I already
I'm gonna forward his to the
you.
group chat. All right.
I already forgive you, and I'm gonna go with four-lipped vagina. That was one of my cards. I am.
This is the most evil game.
At
You've
least
ever
there's
made.
no seatbelts on the bus to hell. Oh my
This is not
god!
that evil. This is Cards Against Humanity playing out in real time.
No, this is Cards Against Your Soul, is what it is. I guarantee you. All right, let's hear the next one. That's random.
You guys want one more?
Yeah, I mean, we only have
We've gone this far. Why stop?
All right,
Yeah,
this will be the last one because I am
All right,
using
fine.
it's called cahgenerator.com.
No, there's an AI twittering with the results. I know it. There's got
Is
to
that
be.
what it is?
It was
I
trained by
gotta be.
Microsoft's AI. Remember that one? What was her name?
Okay.
The one trained by
Sandra Bullock in the net. No, wait, that's not it.
no, the evil one that Microsoft made and then unleashed on Twitter.
Paperclip? Clippy?
No,
No, not Clippy.
the one
You
that
ready?
was Nazi.
Paperclip and Clippy are
Azure.
way different things, my friend.
All right,
no.
allegedly.
Jim.
Somewhere.
Tell me.
All right.
Operation Paperclip.
The pop-up is a bottle of Jim Beam and an 8-ball of Coke later. I am blank.
I'm gonna go look at my cards. I just okay. Here, but
All right. Repeat it back, Jimmy.
One more time. A bottle of Jim Beam and an 8-ball of Coke later. I am blank.
I'm gonna use my lightest card
One of these
just so y'all know how bad it is. I'm gonna use
Go
my
for it.
lightest card.
Go. All right, get to it.
Pick of the litter of the sex slaves. Thank you. Good night.
30 acres and a
For a good
mule.
time.
That's the cleanest one. 30 acres and a mule. That's
That
my
was your
cleanest
cleanest one?
Alright,
I mean,
listen.
well, the context on that could determine what it is, but okay. I swear I was set up on this.
Neptune.
I swear I was.
All right. So this tracks. Jim Beam and a bottle of Coke is definitely Struggle Snuggles.
Struggle snuggle.
Yep.
You know, as large as a guy you are, I don't see that being a problem for you. Sorry.
No, not really. No, you're right about that.
No,
Yeah.
this is hit. This has been a blast tonight. I'm actually glad that I did this, and I do actually look forward to setting up more of this because I have listen, I downloaded and cut out because I had to cut these out individually. You guys don't understand. 140 of the answer cards so that I could sit here and send them to you
fellas,
guys.
we're gonna need a weekend where we can actually just somehow
Get together and play
get
this.
together and play Cards Against Humanity online.
I totally agree.
And just to see what demented crap comes up.
We just print out all the possible. There's got to be a way.
Yeah.
There is.
Yeah. If you send the PDF files and we can cut them out ourselves.
Yeah. I mean,
Just go with it. Yeah.
that's basically what I'm doing, but on my phone for
Mhm.
You're just building a mega deck, and then
Yeah,
This
I'm totally
one
just
is
figure it out.
this one is almost rhetorical, Jimmy, but leave the last
We need more
thought to
pirate
me, and I
theme
have
stuff.
another Cards Against Humanity bit that will fit in perfectly at the end of this segment.
Oh, what you got?
Okay.
The question is, what sounds good after 4 margaritas?
All right.
Luis,
see.
got any guess?
What was it
What
again?
Sounds good.
after
I'm
4
gonna
margaritas?
select a card at random. What sounds good after 4 margaritas?
Yep.
Oh, I got one.
Randomly sodomizing people in the streets.
Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
this is how I know I was set up. This is how I know this. You sent me all those cards on
This
purpose.
one is not even doesn't have to be in your deck. This is a meme that
Oh no, I'm just
Yeah,
going off the
this was a
deck
meme.
gotta
because
be.
it's more entertaining.
Yes.
$50 cup of coffee, literally made from cat shit.
That
Oh, a cat
Oh.
literally cut me. So
sounds
Yeah.
like an average day in Manhattan. No offense.
I mean, it's Starbucks.
Yeah, fair enough. Steven, what you got?
Okay, I got two that you had, Neptune, but I think I'm gonna
Did
just
you?
go with the
I'm
one,
sorry.
my last one. No, it's good. It's good. I just didn't want to use them because I felt like that would be a novice player move. So I'm gonna go with weaponize the bulwark. Sounds good after 4 margaritas.
Actually, you know what? That tracks because the meme that I was referring to, the vid meme specifically, of a cat tapping on a Cards Against Humanity card is what sounds good after 4 margaritas is domestic terrorism.
I didn't
And
say
that's
where, how
we
the Ebola,
began.
but okay.
Thank you,
Oh
Neptune.
my lord. No,
This
no,
is
but
why we're on a list. You know this is why we're on a list, right?
Thank you,
Okay.
Neptune.
100%. No, but
I'm pretty
just
sure that we
reserved
were
your
already
spot
on a
on the
list
list.
before that, so it's fine.
No,
You're
you just
probably
made
right.
sure we
I-
were kept on the list.
I
They were
do
thinking about taking us out of the list.
I do want to, I do want to thank you guys for joining me for this fun this evening. And again, I do look forward to maybe having this segment again in the future. This was a good time, and I promise, Steven, I didn't set you up. You just
Yes, you
got my
did.
you just
Yes,
got my
you
black cloud. You
did.
can blame me all you want, but that it
No,
is
I
what it is.
won't. We're still cool.
But you guys,
I'm,
of course, everybody that's out there checking us out live over there on tonight on Facebook and YouTube and Kick and Rumble and Odyssey. We appreciate you guys tuning in this evening. We appreciate y'all over there in the chat keeping up with us. Hey, I'll give y'all a shout out to the Zodiac, Patricia's Cuban Ballet, and our buddy over there at Defeat the Media, which is also another site you can find us at over there on Facebook. As you can see, there's totally across the bottom of the screen all the places you can find us on social media running over there throughout the thing, and you guys make sure you can just check those out and look them up. You can find links to them at our website unconstitutionalawakening.com. You guys know where all that good stuff is when we're hanging out over there, man. I try to keep things up to date over there. I've been adding back to it. We're going to get it reworked over a little bit, I think. Neptune said something about giving me a little bit of a look and maybe helping me out a little bit, but you guys can go on over there and find links to everything. For all the folks that are re-watching or re-listening over there on all of the listening apps out there, we do appreciate you guys too. Y'all come on over and check out one of these lives, man. We're trying to have a good time and bring things in a different route, see where this goes with this. I think it's a fun time. I think it's great to shoot off the hip and just kind of have these wild conversations, man. And tonight's little addition was a good little addition, I think, for the thing. And I appreciate you guys showing up the night before
well, thanks for the
Thanksgiving.
invite.
Of course.
Yeah, thanks for the invite.
I
Even
definitely
though I was set up.
I appreciate you guys, showing up on the evening before Thanksgiving. I know we've all got a lot of cooking to do. I'm doing some myself. So everybody out there, I hope you have a fantabulous, great Thanksgiving, and I look forward to seeing everybody next Wednesday on the next episode of Unconstitutional Awakening Live, the podcast. You guys, this is just it's great. I appreciate everybody that's along on the ride, and I can't say much more about it, but as normal, I like to go around the table at the end of the night and see what everybody else is, got going on or would like to throw their few cents in before we leave. And I'd like to start with Neptune because I'm going to start with Neptune this evening.
The Industrial Revolution and its consequences have been a disaster for the human race.
Two times.
We have it. Okay. Sorry, I missed the first one. I think you did it for me. That's all right. I appreciate it.
Of course. So Steven, since you came in kind of late and whatnot, and
That's
it's been
my
a while
bad,
since
yeah.
we spoke to you, it's okay. You got any final words or final things you'd like to say for the evening before we sign out?
Just thanks for everything, and big shout out to the Thunder Down Under, us, and you guys look great. Keep it up.
Thank you, sir. Luis, what you got for me tonight?
Don't trust ChatGPT for cooking advice in relation to turkeys because it didn't give me the proper information in relationship to the weight ratio time frame of the cooking as it should have. Currently, there is an active cooking session still happening. I have to verify with these people. We have to flip it over because it didn't properly cook it because I thought maybe I did the math wrong. No, I was right. It would have taken like 4 to 5 hours to cook it properly. So thanks, ChatGPT. You failed me. And ChatGPT 4. You failed me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you got to
Basic
stick to the
questions.
3. Yeah,
Oh,
you got to
God.
stick to the
3
3
is
for now.
literally
So they
gonna
iron
trash.
out.
3.5
you
is
could have
literally
you could have
handicap.
cracked a Betty Crocker and probably been ahead of the game.
Oh, I know. Literally, an old
Yeah.
book from 100 years ago would have given me much better advice.
So,
It's okay though. It's okay.
Of course, another thing running across the bottom of the screen you guys can check out for this evening, of course, is all of our friends in Liberty. You can find links to those also over there at unconstitutionalawakening.com. Don't forget to go out there and check out getting some of your sweet Unconstitutional Awakening merch, man. We've got shirts, we've got hats, we've got stickers, we've got all kinds of crazy nonsense, man. There's all kinds of great things going on over there. I see that the banner's wrong, and I'll fix that for next time. It is unconstitutionalawakening.com. We'll fix that, of course. But other than that, guys, of course, I can't leave out of here without giving you something ridiculously funny to laugh at before we leave, aside from our nonsense with the game. So tonight's joke is what do you call a smiling Roman soldier with a piece of hair stuck in his front teeth?
That's just vile to think about, but okay. What do you call a Roman?
A glad he
hairy
ate
teeth.
her. A glad he ate her. Good night, everyone.
No. Stay on the